Okay, I'm going to go through the test review. I'm not going to work out everything, but I'm going to work out a few from each section, and then I'll put my whole review online, but this way you can at least see some being worked out. So number 1, simplify the expression. So here, this is where we want to make our factor tree. You can do multiple numbers here. You can do 2 times 16. You can do 4 times 8. Whatever you know that multiplies to give you 32. So I'm going to start with 4 times 8. So we can break 4 down into 2 and 2. Can break 8 down into 2 and 4. And we can break 4 down into 2 and 2. So since I'm taking the square root, remember there's that kind of understood 2 right here. I'm looking for pairs of numbers. So there's a 2 I can pull out. There's a 2 I can pull out. And then this 2 is left by itself. So it stays inside the house. So if we simplify that, we get 4 square root of 2. Okay, number 3. So same thing. I'm going to separate out the 250. But now I'm looking for groups of 3 since I have the cube. So 250 we could split into 2 and 125. I believe that's right. Let me just check that. And then 125 we could do 5 times 25. And 25 we can do 5 times 5. So I'm looking for a group of 3, and I have 3 5s. So that means I can have a 5 on the outside, and on the inside of this cube root, make sure you put that cube root, is this 2. So then let's look at our variables. Okay, so the variables, we have 9 A's. So remember, the easiest way to do it, or the quickest way, is how many times does 3 go into 9? 3 times. So that means I have 3 A's on the outside. Then I can do the B's. How many times does 3 go into 5? It goes in once. So because it goes in 1 time, that's how many B's go on the outside. And then the remainder is 2. So that's how many B's are left on the inside. Okay, and then the third one, how many times does 3 go into 7 for the C's? It goes in 2 times, so there's 2 C's on the outside. And then when we multiply, we have 1 left, so there's 1 C on the inside. Okay, number 4, let's do the same thing. So break down 81, 9 and 9, 3 and 3. So I need a group of 4, which I have 4 3's. So bring a 3 out. And then let's divide. So how many times does 4 go into 5? Goes in 1 time. So 1x on the outside. And our remainder is 1. So we have 1 left on the inside. And then the y's, how many times does 4 go into 12? It goes in 3 times. So y3 on the outside, and there's no y's left, so that's it. Number 8. So first thing, I would go ahead and make sure you put that -5 in your answer. And then separate the 72. So 2 times 36, 6 times 6, and then 2 times 3. So I'm looking for pairs, so I have a group of 2's, so I bring a 2 out. I have a group of 3's, so I bring a 3 out. And then I have this 2 left inside the radical. So that would be -30 square root of 2. Okay, number 9 and 10. So now we're just adding and subtracting. Remember, you can add and subtract like radicals. So before I can't add these because I have a 2 and a 72. So let's break this down first. So I'll do 8 times 9. So 2 and 4. 2 and 2. Remember, if I go too fast, you can always pause it and rewind it. Okay, so I have a pair of 2's and a pair of 3's. So if I rewrite this, 2 square root of 2 minus, I have a 2 and a 3 on the outside, and I have this 2 left on the inside. So that would be 2 square root 2 minus 6 square root 2. So we only combine the numbers in front. I leave the radical. So that's -4 square root of 2. Okay, number 10. The radicals are already the same. So I'm just going to combine the numbers in front. 9 minus 13 is -4 square root of 3. Number 13. We have 3 radicals, so we're going to go ahead and simplify each one of these. So if I do the 90, that would be, well, I'll do 9 and 10. So 9 times 10, 3 and 3, 2 and 5. So I have a group of 3s. Don't forget this 3 out here. So I'm going to simplify over here. I have this 3 times this 3, so that's 9, square root of this 2 and 5, so I have a square root of 10. Then I'll simplify the 40, so 4 and 10. So I have a group of 2's, don't forget this 4, so plus 8 square root 10, because I have these 2 left. And then the 160, I'll do over here, 16 times 10. So I have a group of 4, so it's negative 4 root 10. So all the radicals are the same here, so we can combine the numbers in front. 9 plus 8 is 17, minus 4 is 13. Okay, multiplying. So you can multiply and then simplify, or you can simplify and then multiply. I would always recommend doing multiplying first because it's going to be less work on the end. So remember, you can multiply outsides together and insides together. So here I can multiply outsides together, which would be negative 21, and I can multiply insides together, which would be 24. And then we can simplify that. So 4 times 6. So I have a group of 2. So I multiply that with the negative 21, so negative 42, square root of 6. And that 6 comes from these 2 that are left on the outside. Okay, number 16. There's nothing on the outside to multiply, so we just multiply the insides. 3 times 24 is 72. Oh, we've simplified several 72s. 8 times 9. So I have a pair of 2's and a pair of 3's, so that's going to be a 6 on the outside, and then this 2 is left on the inside. Okay, number 17. So now we have a 4th root, but nothing changes. You still multiply outsides together and you multiply insides together. So I multiply 32 times 2, I get 64. If I simplify that, 8 times 8. So I'm looking for a group of 4. So there's 4 2's, so I have a 2 on the outside, and I have 2 2's left on the inside, which multiply to be a 4. And number 18, so this is distributing. So we're going to distribute here. That's going to be square root of 80. Distribute here, square root of 20. Again, multiply outsides together, multiply insides together. So we can simplify this. 8 times 10, 2 times 4. So I have a group of 2's and another group of 2's, so that's going to be 4 square root of 5. And then I can simplify the 20 plus 2 square root of 5. And now, since those radicals are the same, I'm going to go ahead and add those. So I get 6 square root of 5. Okay, division. So remember, if you can simplify first, go ahead and simplify. Like on number 20 here, square root of 64 is 8, and the square root of 4 is 2, and that just simplifies to be 4. So you can simplify first on that one. On number 19, there's nothing to simplify, so we're going to go ahead and rationalize. So we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by a square root of 2. So then I multiply across the top, 7 square root of 2 over, remember when you multiply two radicals that are the same, the radical can go away. So it's just 7 square root of 2 over 2, and there's nothing to simplify there. Number 21, nothing can simplify, so we multiply by the conjugate. Remember the conjugate, we're just going to change the sign on the bottom. Okay, so then on the top, we distribute. So 2 times 3 is 6, and then 2 times negative square root of 5 is 2 square root 5 over. And then on the bottom, we can do that trick where we just multiply the first 2. So 3 times 3 is 9, and we multiply the second 2. negative square root of 5 times negative square root of 5 is negative square root of 25, which is just negative 5. So now on the top, 6 minus 2 square root 5 over 4. And then make sure you can't simplify. So because I have a 6, a 2, and a 4, I can take a 2 out of all of those. So I get 3 minus square root 5 over 2. Okay, so if you're having trouble with that one, I would make sure that you try number 22 and then check your answers with mine on TeacherWeb. Okay, number 25. Let me get that out of the way. There we go. Number 25, write in radical form and simplify. So first thing on 25 I notice is that negative, and I want to make that positive. So I'm going to move it to the bottom. So remember, to make an exponent that's negative positive, you just move it to the bottom. And then I'm going to write that in radical form. So we write our radical. The denominator goes on the outside, and the numerator goes on the inside. So 1 over 4th root of y cubed. Number 27. So everything in here is raised to the 2/3 power. So let's go ahead and write our radical. Remember, if there's parentheses, keep that in parentheses. That way you don't mess anything up. So the 3 goes on the outside and the 2 goes on the inside. Now in this case, I can distribute that 2 to both. So cube root of 64, because that's 8 squared, and then y squared. And then I want to see if I can simplify this number. So I've got 2 times 32, 4 times 8. So I have a group of 3 2's and another group of 3 2's. So I can pull out a 4, 2 times 2, and then I have that y squared left on the inside. Okay, number 31, rewrite exponentially and simplify. So on something like this, I would do the inside first. So just if you cover up that 1/5 and just rewrite that. So remember, there's an understood 2 here. So we can rewrite the inside as y to the 1/2 because there's a 1 here and then a 2 on the outside. And now I'm going to put that 1/5 back. So then if you have an exponent raised to an exponent, we're going to multiply those. So y to the 1 over 10. Okay, 33. I think this one is messed up. I'm going to rewrite this one as 3 square root of x over square root of x cubed, because that is not something that we've done. So I think I messed up on that problem. So what you would do first is you're going to change these to exponents. So I'm going to change this one to x to the 1/2 and change this one to x to the 3/2. Okay, so you're going to change the radicals to exponents. So remember, there's that understood 2 here and a 1 here. So this becomes 1/2 and this becomes 3/2. Okay, then because I'm dividing, I'm going to subtract. So 1/2 minus 3/2 would give me x to the negative 2 over 2, which reduces to negative 1. And then to make that positive, move it to the bottom. So my answer would be 3 over x. So we did some like that on the notes and on the homework. I would go back and practice those because those are a little bit tricky. Okay, 34. So everything is under this 4th root. So we're going to take everything out. Keep it, I'm going to put in parentheses. And then my exponent here, it's all a 1. So it's going to be to the 1/4. 35 is kind of like 31. Let's do just the parentheses first. So I'm just going to leave that 5 alone and change this on the inside to x to the 1/3, and now have that squared on the outside. So this is just like a 2 over 1. So I'm going to multiply that. So this becomes x to the 2/3. Okay, number 37. I would just recommend putting that in your calculator. Just make sure that you do it correctly. Let me use one of the school ones. Okay, so I have 8 divided by 27 raised to the negative 2/3. If you get a decimal, we're going to change that to a fraction by pressing math, enter, enter. So that gives me 9/4. Okay, 38. I have in parentheses negative 27 raised to the 5/3. Negative 243. Okay, the last section, solve each equation. So the first one, 43, you want to isolate the radical. It's all by itself. So now I'm going to raise both sides to the power that's the index on the radical. So it's a square root. So I'm going to raise both sides to a 2. So on this side, the square root goes away. I get x minus 9 equals 5 squared is 25. Solve for x. So I'm going to add 9. So x equals 34. 44, isolate the radical, it's all by itself, so let's square both sides. So on the left, I just get x plus 6. On the right, though, remember, be extra careful here, you get x plus 4 times x plus 4. So let's multiply out the left side. So I get x squared plus 4x plus 4x plus 16. So that becomes x squared plus 8x plus 16. I'm going to move everything to the right-hand side. So I'm going to subtract the x and subtract the 6. So subtract x, subtract 6. So gone and gone. So 0 equals x squared plus 7x plus 10. And now we're going to factor. So let's see. I'll just come up. I'll come up here. So that factors to be x plus 2 and x plus 5. So x equals negative 2 and x equals negative 5. Now we want to check those. I should have checked this first one too, number 43. So if I plug in 34 back where x is, minus 9, I get 5, and on the right-hand side I had 5, so that worked. Then on 44, let's check our two answers. So on the left, I'm going to do square root of negative 2 plus 6 equals 2. And on the right, I'll do negative 2 plus 4. That equals 2. So that one works. Then on the negative 5, square root of negative 5 plus 6 is 1. And on the right, negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1. So that answer does not work. So make sure you check your answers on your test. Okay, number 46. We want to isolate the radical first. So to get rid of this 2, we're going to divide by 2. So now we have 2 equals square root of x minus 7. So we raise both sides to the 2 power. So 4 equals x minus 7. Add 7. Oh, not 13. So 11 equals x. And let's check our answer. So on the right-hand side, I've plugged 2. Square root of 11 minus 7 is equal to 4. So that works. Number 47, the radical is isolated. So since I have a 3 here, I'm going to raise both sides to the third. So I have 2x plus 1 equals 27, because 3 to the third is 27, minus 1, and divide by 2. So x equals 13. So let's check our answer. So cube root is under math, number 4. So I'm going to do 2 times 13 plus 1 equals 3. Perfect. And the last one, I can't isolate the radical, so just you have to be extra careful in here. We're going to raise both sides to the third. So that means this 2 gets cubed as well. So 2 cubed is 8. So I have 8 times x equals x plus 7. So I'm going to subtract x. 7x equals 7. Divide by 7. X equals 1. So let's check that. 2 times the cube root of 1 is equal to, and I don't know the other side, so let's check that. The cube root of 1 plus 7 is also 2, so that works. Okay, I hope you found this helpful. Good luck on your test tomorrow, and have a great day.